mean, I wonder, I wonder what the implications are of Levin retiring. I mean, I just because I just look at what was Ted Kaufman did when he had his 2 years
Right.
as a sort of a temporary senator. He was Biden's chief of staff. He was basically took over Biden's seat, was appointed to Biden's seat, and he seemed to be the most aggressive senator in the Senate in going after this stuff. And, he had a 2 year window and he didn't necessarily have the seniority to push these things through. I wonder if Levin feels that, this is. I mean, because when I heard that he was going to retire, it's one of two things. Of course, one, he's going to go get a job at Citibank because that's what they do,
Right.
or maybe he sees like maybe this is my legacy in some respects.
Well, I know that he's built. He has this permanent subcommittee on investigations, and he's built a pretty impressive thing with that group. I mean, it's a small group of people. There's maybe 15 people in the staff, and they're like the high end crew that investigates really hairy, complicated, you know, financial scandals. They did the KPMG investigation years ago. They've done a lot of money laundering stuff. They did the Goldman investigation. They did HSBC. Now they've taken on Chase, and so I think the legacy that Levin is leaving behind is he has built something within Congress that is taking up some of the responsibilities of the regulators that have stopped doing their jobs with all this stuff. I mean, these investigations shouldn't be being done by a Senate subcommittee. They should be being done by the OCC or the Fed or the SEC, and what he's really doing by commissioning these investigations is it's an implicit indictment of the regulators saying you guys are falling down on the job and we have to do it for you. And that's I think it's pretty cool. And the people that he's hired are pretty impressive people.
And we should say the OCC, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, from
Right.
the basically the
Primary
Treasury Department. Yeah.
banking regulator. Yeah.
All right, so let's just walk through this. Just remind people of exactly what the London whale trades were.
So basically, Chase has all this money. They have all these deposits, and they need to do something with this money to try to make more money. And one of the things that they did is they created this essentially a giant hedge fund within the company. It's called the synthetic credit portfolio, and they have all these hotshot traders who are betting on things like credit default swaps and other derivative instruments. And what happened was these guys had been making a lot of money by betting on derivatives for years. Last year, I guess it was around December or January, they started to bet on corporate credit. I guess they were expecting a big bounce in corporate performance at the beginning of last year, but what happened was the market went the other way. I think also there's an interesting kind of sidebar here is that some people suspected that there were other traders who were consciously trying to squeeze Chase because they knew that they had created a very big long position, that they had bet heavily in this one direction, and that everybody else hated them so much that they all went in the other direction to try to make them lose money. That doesn't matter. The important thing is they bet on corporate credit in January of last year. They started losing tons of money, and then instead of cutting their losses, they doubled down and they started losing even more money. And so what could have been a $400 or $500 million loss suddenly turned into $1.2 billion, $1.5 billion, and before they were done, it was like $6 billion. And this whole thing actually came out in the newspapers before the federal regulators knew about it. And it's even possible that some of it came out in the papers before the senior management of Chase knew about it, because they had been monkeying around with their accounting internally so much that they had lost track of how much money they were actually losing. So that's what these hearings were really all about: is how do these banks do their accounting, and how could it be possible that you could lose $6 billion and nobody can know about it?
And presumably, I mean, the way that this should be working is that they should be reporting these losses, I guess, primarily to the OCC, and perhaps and to the SEC insofar as how they represent the stability of their bank to shareholders.
Right. Yeah, in their quarterly reports. Yeah.
And so, what would have happened? What would have happened if this had been done properly? I mean, in the way that the laws supposedly call for, in terms of they're reporting as they're going forward these losses to the OCC, and at one point the OCC says, "Hey, wait a second. You're now because the U.S. government backstops your bank in about 14 different ways. You're just being too risky."
Well, first of all, the OCC didn't even know about the existence of this fund. It's not even mentioned in any documents until like January of 2012. So, yeah, that's unbelievable, because by the time, at its very peak, this fund had a notional value of like $157 billion. Now, that's not to say that that's how much it was actually worth, but if everything went completely wrong, that's
that was
roughly
the liability.
How much that's how much the liability was. So it's this gigantic thing, and the primary banking regulator doesn't even know it exists. So that's an important thing, and they were not providing data about this fund to the OCC. What they were doing is they were lumping in the profits and losses of this fund in with other stuff, and then handing in kind of an aggregate number to the regulators. Now, at one point, when they started to lose money, I think this was in January, Jamie Dimon orders his subordinates to just stop sending any data at all about this fund to the OCC, even though it was obligated legally to do that. So that was one thing that was incredible. That went on for about 2 weeks until the OCC, forced them to start sending data again. The other thing is, when they started to lose money in the fund, instead of recognizing those losses, they just changed the way they measured how much money was in the fund. So, you have all these derivative instruments, and it's a little bit of a subjective art to evaluating them. Traditionally, there was a very conservative way that people would value these securities or these instruments. Instead, they changed the way they did it to take the most optimistic view of how much these things were worth. And so that's a very typical thing that we've seen throughout this entire crisis period, is that whenever these banks get in trouble, they just sort of change their methodology of how they measure how much their assets are worth. So those are some of the issues that went on during this time. They hid the thing from the OCC. They stopped giving data when things started going wrong, and they changed their accounting methodology when things went wrong.
So when they stop giving data to the OCC, their argument is they're doing this because of they felt that their data wasn't safe with the OCC, and that there was
right.
Explain that justification. I mean, we should also not gloss over the fact that they just simply decided to no longer follow the law because they just
Right.
thought like it's bad for us. Or, I mean, it's just sort of, I mean, it's just sort of, you can come up with any type of explanation, but there are procedures theoretically. It's not like, Jamie Dimon doesn't have access to talk to the regulators in some fashion by saying like, hey, we have a problem with this. They just decided, we're just not going to give
Yeah,
you the
no,
we're
yeah,
not
no.
gonna give you the-
It's amazing, and John McCain actually was the one who kind of went after them in the hearings about this. He's like, let me get this straight. You guys were concerned about confidentiality, so you just stopped following the law. And he's like, well, so, and we were worried there were leaks, and it's very important for us that this data be confidential. And the funny thing is, the attitude that came out in the answer was that this made complete and total sense to this guy. I think his name is Doug Braunstein, who was the witness from Chase. It didn't sound like he was dissembling or trying to cover up. He thought he was giving a perfectly reasonable explanation, and McCain is sitting up there saying, we don't. I think the rest of us in America, we don't think of ourselves as having the option of when we get to follow the law and when we don't, but apparently you do. And it was just a surreal moment in the hearings.
This is equivalent of getting pulled over
that.
by a cop for going 85 in a 55-mile-an-hour zone and going, officer, I was late.
Yeah, I was late, I just wanted to see,
my favorite TV show's on, and I don't have the ability
to
DVR it in my car, so can we just get this over with? And okay, and so the other, but the list of offenses that actually came up in this goes even beyond this, right? I mean, their internal controls were. It's so hard to sort of get through this as whether or not there was a failure of their internal controls or whether they specifically said, like, let's set up our internal controls in such a way as that so that they're not so controlling and that they're a little bit more opaque.
No, that's exactly what happened. And that's exactly the problem, which is they. When they became aware of the problem, the senior executives at this company, they should have gone in and said, "Oh my God, you morons! You can't just change your accounting, procedures and hide losses that way. We're going to get killed for this." They should have immediately, thrown some of their lesser subordinates over the edge and forced them to take the rap. But they went in the other direction completely, and they just took the lie to another level. They're holding a conference call for investors on April 13th after this has already come out, and they're basically saying, "Oh, don't worry about this. The OCC has been aware of this the entire time." I mean, they're lying to investors. They lied in their SEC disclosures. I mean, they knew how much the loss was back then, and they underreported the losses in their SEC disclosure by about $600 million.
All right, so this is wherein at one point Levin says that on April 13th, 2012, Chase had an internal report showing $1.2 billion in losses in this London whale fund, essentially, and Ina Drew, she is the former CIO, the chief
head of risk or something like that. Yeah.
She's
chief investment officer. Okay. That's right. Yeah.
So she was privy to that report, but on the following Monday, she met with the OCC and just flat out lied, told her the losses were a little bit less than half of that.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, she said it was. She knew it was 1.2 billion, and she told them it was 719 million.
And in the hearing, she says the reason why she lied, or why she did that, is she says because the OCC, as far as I knew, had been given daily profit and loss reports. So I guess what's unsaid there is that they should have known that I was lying, or should have stepped up and said, "Hey, wait a second, don't you mean 1.2 billion instead of 580 million?" And she would have gone, "Oh, Yeah.
Right, exactly. So she basically says we've been sending you the daily numbers, which we also find out in this hearing that they haven't been, right? That's one of the things that came out is that the OCC actually wasn't getting those daily numbers, but she's saying they should have been able to figure it out because we were sending them the raw data, so it didn't matter that I lied to the primary banking regulator of the United States. In what was last year the biggest banking disaster in the world. It doesn't. That's not material. It's not nothing to worry about because it's the government's fault for not figuring out themselves.
Now,
So that just gives you some insight into the thinking of these people. It's.
but she's
And
also
we're supposed to,
simultaneously claiming that she didn't know that they weren't sending this data to the OCC, right? I mean, so basically what we're seeing here, bit by bit, is how these officials have created firewalls from themselves in terms of accountability. I lied here, but I did that based upon the knowledge that you had the data to know that I was lying. What I didn't know was that you didn't have the data to know that I was lying. So I'm not really responsible because I lied in good faith in thinking that you knew that I was lying.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Or something. Right. I mean, or I just lied. I mean, I don't know. It's so crazy, but yeah, you're right. What comes out in these hearings is that it's never anybody's fault. It's always, I did this based on the information that I had at the time. But what the bottom line in all of this is that they did know, and they just lied to everybody. They lied to the SEC, they lied to the OCC, they lied to the investing public, and they lied to Congress.